All right, so today you guys are going to go ahead and create the Vormator challenge or participate in the Vormator challenge. And what this is, it is a challenge of your creativity. Okay, so the aim of this project is to give each artist, which is each of you, the chance to show your abilities to create a stunning art piece with limited means. Okay, you guys are each going to get a set of 8 shapes, which are called the elements. And with each of these shapes, you are challenged to create your own unique design. Okay, so everybody's given the same shapes, and whatever comes out of your imagination is what you're going to create with these shapes. Okay, now there are some rules when you use these shapes. All right, so you need to pay attention and listen to these rules very carefully. So, what exactly are you allowed to do with the elements? So, you are allowed to rotate, flip, and duplicate the elements. Okay, you do not have to use every single one. Scaling is allowed, but only proportionally. You cannot skew them or free transform them, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. You can add, subtract, you cannot add, subtract, or intersect, so I'm going to change that. So before you were able to do this, but the rules have changed a little bit. So this project came about in 2008 by some designers who wanted to challenge each other. There's a book out on it. There's all kinds of pictures online. If you search Vormator challenge, you can find all kinds of information. All right, so you cannot combine shapes using the shape builder tool, but you can kind of layer them and stack them, okay, to make them look like a different shape. So let's see, where am I? No skewing. You can use color, okay, so you can change the color of each piece. Pick a color palette and stick with that. That way you're not searching for different colors like forever. Okay, and I'll show you how to find your color palettes in Adobe Illustrator. You can create your own color schemes or use one that's already provided in Illustrator or online. Try using the color themes panel in Illustrator for ideas. You are allowed to use gradients. Okay, the elements may only be filled with a color, not with a stroke. You cannot have a stroke or an outline on any of your shapes. The use of strokes is not allowed. And you are not allowed to use filters, effects, or any of those things in Illustrator. Okay, so you're allowed to flip, rotate, duplicate. You are allowed to scale and make it bigger or smaller. You can layer shapes. Okay, you can use color, you can use gradients. All right, so those are the things that you can do, and I'll kind of make this note a little bit clearer. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to, let's take a look at some examples that I have posted. Actually, let me bring up on Behance.com. So this is an Adobe website. It's a portfolio website. And these are some Vormator challenges that have been uploaded to their site by different artists or creators or students of the like. So if you scroll through, you can see that if you click on any one of these pictures, okay, you can make out the shapes that were used, right? You can see that they're go through, and you can really see where each shape is located. All right, so you are given 8 shapes to use, and I'm going to show you those in just a second. And whatever you come up with is up to your imagination. All right, some kids get really creative, some are more simple, and that's okay. Some of you are still, just getting through, and that's okay. But I want to see what you can do. All right, so let's go ahead and open up Adobe Illustrator. These are the 8 shapes that you are given. All right, so what you're going to do, you're going to download these from Google Classroom, and those are located right here at the bottom. So original Vormator elements, okay, you're going to click on it, open a new window, and then download from there, and it'll download the Illustrator file. You're going to open up the file in Illustrator. We are working in Illustrator today, okay? And then when you get to Illustrator, what you're going to do is create a new document. So go to File, New, and you're going to name this my computer's very slow. I don't know why when I'm working in Illustrator. And then you are going to name it Vormator And then you're going to size it 10.5 inches by 10.5 inches. Make sure this is set to inches before you start typing in your numbers, okay? So this is going to be a square, and then you're going to hit create, and it'll give you a new document. I don't know why. Oh, my artboard was set to 2. I only need 1 artboard. All right, and then, so now that I have my tab with my artboard and my tab with my elements, what I'm going to do is copy my elements. So I'm going to go ahead and grab these. Oops. I don't need the element, this part, so I'm just going to kind of drag across the shapes, and these are called elements, and I'm going to copy. So Control C once I've selected, come back over here, and I'm going to paste these off to the side. I don't want them directly on my artboard. Oh, it didn't grab it. I don't want them directly on my artboard because that is where my artwork is going to go. And I want to be able to reuse these shapes. So I'm just going to kind of, you can move these around after you get them on your artboard. You want to put them where they're accessible to you. Okay, so here are my shapes. So if you want, actually, I'm just going to leave this on this layer. The only thing that you can create a new shape with or use a different shape with is your background. Okay, so what I'm going to do is draw out a colored background. Let's do, oops, that is actually not the right one. I need to draw it out first. So I'm going to draw out a rectangle, or I'm sorry, a square for my background. And I'm going to fill it in with blue, change my gradient a little bit. So click on the gradient tool and then go to window and open up the gradient. You do not have to have a gradient on yours. You can do a solid color. That is completely up to you. I just prefer to have gradient because I'm going to make a sky. All right, so there we go. There's my gradient. So this is my background layer. So now what I'm going to do is take this background layer and drag it to the bottom of my layer stack. If your layer panel is not open, and if your option bar up here is not open, you're going to go to window or your control bar. Turn on control, so this turns this part on, and then turn on your layer panel. So you want the control button to be checked and the layer panel to be checked. Those should both at least have check marks set to them, okay? That way you see your layers and you see your option bar up here. This is where your major controls are at. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to lock my background layer so it doesn't move when I place things on my artboard, because if I go to put something on here and then I'm like, oh wait, I want to move this, it's going to move my background and I don't want that. So I'm going to click on the lock button, and now when I click on it, it will not move. Okay. All right, so to start designing your shapes, what you're going to do is you're going to come up with your idea, and then you are going to click on your shape that you want to start with, hold the Alt key and drag. This will make a copy of your shape. Don't let go of the Alt key until you've let go of the mouse. If you do, then it will not copy. It'll drag the original element, and that's what you don't want, okay? So hold the Alt key and drag over. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start placing my shape. I can make this bigger, so I'm going to hold the Shift key and pull from the corner, and this will let me make it larger. And then I'm going to fill it in with a color. So up here, I'm going to go choose color. So if I want a different color than what is listed right here, what I can do is either go here to swatch libraries and choose any of these color palettes. All right, so you've got all kinds of different color palettes located here, or I can go to window and then go to either color, which is here. Okay, this is going to open this color changer, or I can go to window and go to swatches. This is what I want open. If you start getting too many tabs open, you can go ahead and close them out or hide them. And when you need them, just go to the window panel and open them back up. Okay, so if I wanted to go to textiles, I could come here. Now, I don't want you to be able to use patterns. Okay, so there are patterns available here. I do not want you to use patterns. All right, so you're just going to use solid colors or gradients. And again, make sure that they do not have fills on or strokes on them. So a stroke would be this one, the outline. Okay, so you don't want that. That is not what you want on your, so this should always be off. Okay. Oh, it has to be selected. All right, so you're just going to start building your shapes or your design. So I'm going to click on this one, hold the Alt key and drag. Now you notice that one is behind here. So what I need to do is go to my layer panel and I need to drag it up to the top and it'll bring it. So your layer stack is kind of like stacks of paper. So if you want to put something underneath something else, then you need to locate where it's at on your layer stack and see if it's above or below the layer that you want it to be. And if you know you're on the right layer, you'll have a little blue box right here. Mine is blue, yours might be red or orange or something else, or a different color. If you have another layer, it'll be different colors depending on that layer. Okay. So this is telling me that this is the selected layer. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and fill this in with a color, maybe make it bigger. Now you can rotate it again, like I said. So if you want to rotate it, you can like this. Okay. Let's see what else do you need to know. I think that's it. So when you're done, so if you notice, depending on where I grab my picture or my layer from, is where it's going to put it. Now, as you start building, you're going to notice you're going to get a ton of layers. So if you look at some of the examples in either Google Classroom or on Behance, there's a lot of layers on some of these files. Okay, there are some in here. There was an owl. The owl had like texture. Just by layering the same color but using different, or the same shape but using different colors, that's going to give you texture. Okay, so keep that in mind. You're going to have a lot of layers, so it's going to be very important that you pay attention. So you're going to have between 5 and 7 days to do this. I will check in with you again on Friday, see where you guys are, see how far along you're getting, and see where your design is. When you are completely done, you're going to go ahead and save this as an Illustrator file, and then you are going to put it in your Student U drive and name it, I think I already actually have one, maybe not. Okay, so I'm going to rename this file for and then I'm going to go ahead and open it up and save the Illustrator file, and then I'm going to export my JPEG file because I want to be able to print it. And then I'm going to hit, I want it to be CMYK. I'm going to do a larger file, hit OK. And then, one more thing that I want you to do when you're doing that, when you're exporting it as a JPEG, make sure that it is saved as, or it's exporting as a high resolution. Okay, we want it to be at 300 ppi, so when we print it, it'll be nice and crisp. All right, when you're done, you're going to go ahead and print. So you're going to go to File, Print, and just like your cereal boxes, you're going to send it. This one actually you're going to send to the 22DN printer. This one prints larger size paper, and you're going to choose 11 by 17 inch paper. Okay, and yes, our document is 10.5 by 10.5, so we're going to waste a little bit of paper, but I don't have any 10 by 10 paper to put in the printer. So, and then you'll go ahead and print this. Okay, I do want you to, when you're done printing, put your name, write your name on the back of it. If you want to print a copy for yourself, please feel free. But I need a copy to put into the art show. All right, so that's it. I hope you have fun with this challenge and enjoy.